Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about a new Mythic Plus affix and kind of a new Mythic Plus affix style in Battle for Azeroth. Now, let's go ahead and start with the slight changes to Mythic Plus affixes in Battle for Azeroth. So, the most of the fixes that you know from Legion, if you do know the affixes in Legion, will be carrying over to Battle for Azeroth with slight tweaks to them. Their basic statement on this is that if it's not broke, don't fix it. There's Mythic Pluses were one of the huge successes of Legion, so they don't really want to change it too much. However, they did make one change that seemed to be pretty obvious once they announced it. Now, this part isn't new, but you might not have heard it, so I figured I'd fill you in. So, as of right now, you get your Mythic Plus affixes at, I believe, 5, 7, and 10. 10 being just Tyrannical or Fortified. Now, what this does is, as you get gear in the expansion, there's all these catch-up methods and everything, there's no huge disparity between a 9 and a 10, noticeably. However, at the beginning of the expansion, it is quite noticeable. So because what's happening is, at 9 you have the two other affixes, of course, but then at 10 you get Fortified or Tyrannical, and the boss health or the mob health goes way up, and damage, whatever, goes way up. And there's a huge jump between difficulty in 9 and 10. So what they wanted to do to address this was, now when you get a Mythic Keystone, a +2 will be Fortified or Tyrannical depending on the week, and it'll start off like that. So the jump won't be as bad between Mythic and Mythic +2 because there's not as much of a it's not that hard anyways. So there will be a gap there, of course, but basically it'll just be a checkpoint. You need to be this geared or skilled to do a Mythic Plus in general, because it'll have Fortified or Tyrannical, and then it'll just scale up with the other fixes from there. So that's the overall changes to the Keystone system. But now let's go ahead and talk about the new affix that was announced and kind of how this new last affix system is going to work. So Tyrannical and Fortified are just seen now as kind of built into it. So it's not really a third affix. It is, but it isn't. So there will be a fourth affix once you get to +10. Now, what they're going to do with this is they want to turn Mythic Pluses into a kind of like a season. So think PvP. So or the arena season. There you go. So it's gonna mirror that as well. And so Mythic Plus season will be like arena season in that way. For each season, they will be a different Mythic Plus affix. As far as the first one goes, it is called Infested. Infested basically works like a mechanic by Gahun, the last boss in the first raid for Battle for Azeroth. And it basically, what it does is random mobs, non-boss mobs, throughout the dungeon will be infested with this parasite. When you kill that mob, the parasite will try to go to another mob. It might not even be in the same pack that you're in. It might try to go to another mob somewhere else in the dungeon. So what you would probably want to do is kill that mob last. I mean, there's going to be multiple, things to do. You could kill it first, you could kill it last, whatever. But the parasite drops out of the mob and tries to go to it physically. So then this is something you can stop and try to deal with. If it gets to the next mob, all it does is it buffs it the same way that the last mob was buffed. They'll be on random things. They can be on strong things. They can be on weak fodder. But that's how this new buff works. And it's themed off of the first raid, which is pretty cool. So what's going to happen is, this first season, and I don't know if you know about the Mythic Plus Invitational, but that's kind of like a thing they're trying to get going and make it as popular as like Arena. So that's what the seasons are really all about. Like, let's see who the best Mythic Plusers are during this season. So after the first raid tier is done, and then the first PvP season done, the first Mythic Plus season is done. And we'll get a new affix for Season 2 of Mythic Plus affixes. Now, that hasn't been announced yet, but it's likely to be, a mechanic that has something to do with the next raid tier and the next storyline. If it's not the next raid tier, maybe there's a big part of storyline that comes out in the next patch, and it'll have something to do with that. I think this is really cool. The biggest difference will be is in Legion, there's not much difference between your first +10 Maw of Souls, and I'm just use Maw of Souls as an example. That's the example that Ian used, Ian. your first plus 10 was the same as your 500th plus 10 if you did 500. There's not much of a difference. Nothing really changed. In this manner, throughout the expansion, at least, I guess, 4 times, maybe more, at least 4 times, it'll change, and you'll get a new affix that you can deal with and learn strategies on and come up with new things to do. So it gives you a little bit of new stuff, adds a little bit extra to it, and a little bit of a change. But yeah, that's kind of where Mythic Pluses are sitting right now as far as affixes go. There are some other changes to that. I'm not going to get into this video or it'll be way too long. But yeah, I think that's about all I have for that, and everybody have a good one. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, go ahead and please subscribe below. You can catch my gaming thoughts and activities on Twitter at RealKneecap, and you can also find me playing live on Twitch at KneecapKilla. Hopefully I'll see you soon, and of course, everybody have a good one.